Just ahead on CTV News.
If you're heading out of town this Thanksgiving, traveling by rail just may be the way to go. I'm Katara Jones. I'll have all those details coming up on CTV News.
And post-government shutdown, millions of Americans will need to reapply for SNAP to receive benefits. Plus, the debate over data center continues. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening, this is CTV News for November 24th. I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, the countdown to Thanksgiving Day is winding down. We're just 3 days away from when Americans will gather around the table for their Turkey Day feast. One way travelers are getting to their Thanksgiving destination is by rail. That's where we find CTV's Katara Jones at the New Carrollton Amtrak station with more.
That's right. If you're planning to travel by rail this Thanksgiving, well, you are not alone. In fact, Amtrak says last year about 1.2 million people took the train to their Thanksgiving Day destination. And officials anticipate that those numbers this year are going to go up.
Going to New York.
This is Jarvelin Bannerman. He's heading to New York City to spend time with family this Thanksgiving and opted to take an Amtrak train. Amtrak predicts a record-breaking Thanksgiving travel period and has already seen a double-digit growth in early bookings compared to last year. AAA projects 81.2 million people will travel at least 50 miles from home during this holiday beginning tomorrow through December 1st.
Normally take Amtrak because it's a lot more convenient, than driving, because New York is, traffic and, it's a little hectic. So, yeah. Most of the time I take Amtrak.
Reports show that many people are buying train tickets to make it in time for Thanksgiving Day dinner this year. And some of the reasons for this is that it's more affordable to take a train than flying. And rail travel has simply become more popular.
I'm headed towards Petersburg, Virginia, with my sister, and then we're headed towards southeastern part of Virginia with our mom.
Now, if you haven't booked your Amtrak ticket, you definitely want to do that now because prices are going up. For example, if you're heading to New York, maybe you're going to see the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. A one-way trip to New York will cost you about $190 if you're leaving at 5:17 p.m. from New Carrollton. You'll get to New York about 8:31 p.m. But that is expensive, which is definitely why it's so important that you book your tickets now. You can do that by visiting Amtrak.com, or you can come to the New Carrollton station here and buy it at one of these kiosks. Reporting in New Carrollton, Katara Jones, CTV News.
All right, Katara, thanks so much for that report. Now, for more details, visit Amtrak.com. Meanwhile, if you're planning to load up the family vehicle, AAA anticipates that 73 million people will travel by car during the Thanksgiving Day travel period. And TSA is gearing up for one of its busiest holiday travel seasons ever, expecting to screen more than 17 million passengers between November 25th and December 2nd. Officials say Sunday, November 30th, could break records with more than 3 million people flying that day alone. Now, TSA leaders credit a surge in holiday travel and say 8 of the 10 busiest days in agency history have happened this year. Travelers are urged to pack smart, bring proper ID, and consider enrolling in a pre-check to move through security faster. Now, more than 300 seniors came to the District Heights Recreation Center for a free Thanksgiving luncheon today. There was a large line of people waiting outside to get in before the event started. District Heights teamed up with Councilman Calvin Hawkins to put on the event. And people who came were able to eat macaroni and cheese, greens, sweet potatoes, and more. But in addition to getting a warm meal, the seniors were also able to fellowship and just have fun.
We are still active members of society, and we need to be engaged with activities. Our income is slightly limited and less than what we are accustomed to, so it's nice to have free activities or reduced activities.
We realize that our seniors sometimes become lonely or they may not afford certain meals, but to be able to come together and network and fellowship, we feel that that is so important.
This is a great time in our county, notwithstanding what's going on. I'm glad the federal shutdown has ended, and I'm just grateful that we have an opportunity in America to fellowship together in a setting like this.
Now, one of the seniors who came out today was 108 years old. She received a standing ovation. Well, the Trump administration says it plans to make millions of low-income Americans reapply for food stamps, calling it an effort to cut down on fraud. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins told Newsmax that she wants every SNAP recipient to prove they still qualify, but didn't say when or how that process would work. SNAP serves about 42 million people nationwide, and critics warn the move could push vulnerable families off the program. It comes as the administration pushes major cuts and new restrictions on food aid. And federal workers who were laid off as a result of the government shutdown are able to go back to work. More than 3,600 workers who received reduction in force notices after October 1st were told their notices are being reversed. With the passage of the short-term spending bill, it guaranteed those federal workers would have their jobs back. Plus, the bill bans federal agencies from laying off any more workers while the continuing resolution is in effect. And county council members are pointing the finger at previous council members for fast-tracking data centers in Prince George's County. CTV's Anaya Vulcan is in the studio with more. Anaya?
Yes, data centers is a hot topic in Prince George's County, as residents have been pleading with government officials to not build them here. Their concerns, the negative health, economic, and environmental impacts of data centers. But county council members are pointing the finger, citing a 2021 bill that fast-tracked data centers coming to Prince George's County. The bill overrides county council and community members' voices on the matter, and it sends data centers straight to the Maryland National Capital Parks and Planning Commission and then through the permitting process, a move that previous county council members say they regret. The topic of data centers in Prince George's County has community members taking a stand.
No data center for PG County.
This data center fight has ignited a lot of passion as community members feel their concerns are falling on deaf ears.
Get it through your heads. You have to generate revenue somewhere else.
You vetoed a bill that would have allowed us to research the data impacts of that, and my community does not want more data centers being built at the cost of our health so that billionaires can get richer. That's not what I want for Maryland.
I agree, and that's not what I want for Maryland either.
But you vetoed the bill.
Community members say there's been a lot of hand-hiding and finger-pointing by government officials on this topic. Current county council members say they aren't responsible for data centers coming to Prince George's, as a bill in 2020 established a personal property tax exemption on data centers, and a 2021 bill fast-tracked data centers coming to the county and left no room for the county councils or community members' voices.
I disagree with that piece of legislation. I think it was damaging. It's why the community is such an uproar right now is because they feel like they were blindsided by a piece of legislation that was intentionally meant to leave the community out.
Jolene Ivey, there were many of those, and amongst others, at least 4 members that are currently on there that voted to fast track. I would have never done that because we haven't gotten the infrastructure in place.
County council members who helped pass those bills in 2020 and 2021 say it's unfair for their colleagues to point the finger.
They weren't here and didn't understand. They don't have the full context of what occurred. I think the issue is not what happened back then, but where people stand now. And I think some people are quietly in favor of data centers, but they just don't want them in their neighborhood. And I think we need to have a better understanding of what the impacts are.
And some of those impacts, Tom and his colleagues say they weren't aware of when they agreed to pass the 2020 and 2021 data center bills.
Back then, we were in COVID. We had presentations from the EDC, it's all virtual, of course, about data centers. And it wasn't something that we knew anything about, truly. but they explained to us the benefits, the money it would bring to the county, which was significant. And at that time, really no real downside.
County council members at the time say they felt pressured to make a decision quickly because the process for permitting is significantly slower in Prince George's County compared to surrounding jurisdictions.
Data centers that were coming would choose to go to the locations that were quicker because time is money. And as far as zoning, it was done in a way to allow them in a lot of different places by right without it having to come back before the council, because if it came back through the council, that was additional time.
A decision that she and Councilmember Denoga say they regret.
I think that we've learned a lot, and at that time, although we did have public hearings, there was no public outcry, because the public knew what we knew, which was very little. But we all know a lot more now. I think it's time that we repeal the laws that we implemented then and kind of start over.
That's something that Councilmember Walla Gay says is already on her to-do list.
The first thing we're going to do is remove the fast tracking. I will do that because I do believe that with the infrastructure issues, fast tracking should not come with data centers. They should go through the regular process.
The Qualified Data Center Task Force has until November 30th to submit their recommendations to the County Council. However, a coalition of community organizations sent a letter to the task force asking the county to extend the moratorium on issuing permits for data centers until a science-based review is done that evaluates all scenarios for data center development in Prince George's County. The organizations are also demanding the county to enact and be ready to enforce legislation that protects communities and their environment. We will keep you updated on this topic as more information becomes available.
All right, you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton. Still to come, a local neighborhood has recently seen a string of car break-ins. After the break, find out what their local police department had to say.
Come on, move. Of course, there aren't any spots. A few minutes won't hurt anybody. Thanks, Grandma.
Paralyzed Veterans of America works tirelessly every day to create a more accessible America. Let's leave the accessible spaces to the people who actually need them. Whatever the reason, excuses don't excuse. Join PVA and be part of the solution. Honor the spot.
Hi, I'm Elijah. In the summer, I like playing basketball on the trampoline. When I'm hungry, it affects me. Like if I'm trying to read, I'll go to sleep, or if I'm trying to do something around class, I'll get distracted. When I grow up, I want to be a robotic engineer. I want to build robots that can help around the house. Helping people makes me feel proud of myself.
Welcome back. Residents in Greenbelt are shaken up after a string of vehicle break-ins over the weekend. Greenbelt police report 35 break-ins took place between Saturday night and Sunday morning. They were located at Hanover Parkway, Jacobs Drive, Morrison Drive, Megan Lane, Bird Lane, Ora Glen Court, and Mandan Court. Police urge anyone who has information on the thefts to call 301-474-7200.
And NASA is moving quickly on a plan to consolidate the Goddard campus by 25%. The International Federation of Professional and Technical Engineers say NASA is planning to close 13 buildings on the west side of its campus. NASA leaders say this consolidation is urgent and will help the agency save tens of millions of dollars. But union leaders say having the buildings closed by March of 2026 will only result in significant harm to NASA's strategic capabilities.
And with the recent announcement that the Francis Scott Key Bridge is going to be more expensive, there's concern now about how it will be funded. Maryland lawmakers are concerned the Trump administration may not fully fund the project. A Department of Transportation spokesperson says the Trump administration does not write blank checks. And initially, the construction was estimated to cost just under $2 billion. Now it's expected to cost between $4.3 and $5.2 billion.
Well, a union is accusing a contractor at BWI of illegally laying off nearly 40 ground crew workers. SEIU Local 32BJ says AGI, the company that handles baggage and ramp work for Spirit Airlines, gave employees as little as 2 weeks' notice, far short of Maryland's required 60 days. Some workers say they got no warning at all, including one man who says losing his job right before Thanksgiving has left him scared and struggling. AGI hasn't responded to requests for comment. And 2 separate holiday food distributions are helping Prince George's County families get ready for Thanksgiving. The Dunn Foundation held its annual turkey giveaway at the shops at Iverson. Cars stretched through the parking lot as volunteers handed out hundreds of free turkeys during the drive-through event. And over in Forestville, the Durant Family Charitable Foundation hosted its own holiday meal distribution at Bishop McNamara High School. Wanda Durant helped lead the effort as the foundation increased this year's support to 1,500 meals, up from the usual 500, to meet rising community need.
We are facing so many challenges right now, but when we come together, we can strike a mighty blow.
We opened up registration back in October. You know, that's normally when we have registration. The first day we had almost 200 people registered.
Folks are family to me, and it's very important to me, since I've been successful, thank God, to be able to give back to folks in need.
Things have gone up. Things are really, really tight right now, so it's a blessing.
Really honored. I really don't take this lightly that I'm able to serve.
Both organizations say these events are part of a wider county effort to make sure no family goes without a holiday meal.
And one local nonprofit has helped thousands of Montgomery County residents have a Thanksgiving dinner this year. The So What Else nonprofit held a 2-day giveaway this weekend in their parking lot at Wyaconda Road. They stuffed thousands of trucks and cars with multiple bags and boxes of food. According to the co-founder and executive director, the giveaway was planned during the shutdown, and they decided to keep it going, even after the government reopened. And still to come on CTV News, we have some tips for you to keep you in the kitchen and keep you safe this Thanksgiving.
And if you're not sure the best place to buy a turkey, we might know a spot.
I'm Byron Scott in Fulton, and we are talking turkey. Stay tuned.
You may have heard that the American Legion helps honor our fallen heroes.
Or that the American Legion helped write the GI Bill, enabling veterans to get a college education.
And yeah, you've heard us tell a good story or two.
But did you know that the American Legion does so much more for our veterans? From advocacy on Capitol Hill to serving others in our communities, the American Legion continues its tradition of strengthening America through service. Learn more about supporting veterans in your community by visiting legion.org.
Welcome back. With just 3 days until the big Thanksgiving feast, we head to Fulton, Maryland for a farm-to-table operation. It's called Show Nuff. Byron Scott takes us there.
The turkeys are moving fast at Show Nuff Turkey Farm in Fulton.
One turkey, drums, wings.
As they have for generations, Show Nuff has been serving up fresh fowl.
This farm was started raising turkeys by my wife's grandparents in 1947.
As always, each year has its challenges.
Here at Show Nuff Turkey Farm, we raise turkeys that are all natural, free range. This year, not as much free range as in the past because of the bird flu that's been around, so we've only had limited access for the birds to be outside.
In a typical year, Show Nuff raises 20,000 turkeys. This year, 18,000.
It's a little less than usual, yes. We knew with keeping them inside, we'd have to do a few less, so they would have plenty of room inside.
And then there are the food prices. According to industry experts, the price of a frozen grocery store turkey is roughly $1.77 a pound. But at Show Enough, the price per pound is $3.15, 10 cents more than last year. But customers don't seem to mind.
This is my first time here. We normally try to buy local, so it's very important to shop local and support your local farmers and all that good stuff.
So with 3 days until Thanksgiving, the rush is on.
We use an infrared turkey cooker, which is like an indirect fired heat. And it works very well to make the skin nice and crispy, and it makes the meat nice and juicy.
You know, we pick up probably around 20 birds, 15, 20 birds.
It's quite a few.
It's a corporate office.
For some, the trip is an adventure.
All the way.
All the
it was
way.
like The Hobbit. So we made this an adventure, right? It came out, it felt like a farm, but it was only 45 minutes away. So that was actually pretty great. And then the day was just beautiful. So it was kind of a fantastic experience.
What'd you guys pick up?
We picked up the
23.5-pound turkey.
That was the only one you can get last minute.
For the kids, getting an early peep at dinner was cool.
Speaking to the mic.
They kind of look cool because they're big.
So what do you think of these turkeys?
They look awesome.
And for the teen set, it's about keeping the farm experience real. So what do you think of the operation?
It looks good. Stinks a little.
Byron Scott, CTV News.
After Thanksgiving, the farm gears up for their mad Christmas rush. Well, if you're cooking this Thursday, the Consumer Product Safety Commission has issued an urgent reminder that the holiday season marks the most dangerous time of the year for cooking-related fires and injuries, with an average of 1,400 cooking fires occurring on Thanksgiving Day. To help combat this number, remember to never leave cooking food unattended. Keep children and pets at least 3 feet away from cooking area, and never use water on a grease fire. If you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen.
And with Black Friday soon after, shoppers may be wondering where's the best place to save some coins while doing some Christmas shopping. Well, according to finance experts, the top answer is JCPenney. Wallet Hub recently analyzed 3,100 deals from 13 of the nation's largest retailers' Black Friday advertisements. No retailer performed better than JCPenney in toys, appliances, and other categories. Now, with 10 stores here in Maryland, JCPenney boasts a 74.8% average discount rate this year. Other retailers who made the top 5 include Belk, Kohl's, Macy's, and the Home Depot.
And a record 187 million people are expected to take advantage of deals this Thanksgiving weekend. And experts are warning against online scams. They say because of artificial intelligence, email scams have become more convincing, especially to seniors who are often targeted. Before, AI scammers would get caught from making easy mistakes like spelling errors. When in doubt, never click a link from an email, even if it does look legit. And don't move, Simon Buggs has our Monday sports page.
That's right. What's going on, Simon?
I've got a packed sports page in store for you guys today. First up, the Wise High School football team takes the field against Glen Burnie. And could the Pumas hold off the Gophers to keep their state title hopes alive? Also, some highlights from the UMD football team's last home game of the season. Don't move, you'll want to see this. Okay, everybody, let's get into your Monday sports page. Now, the high school state playoffs continued over the weekend. And for this past Friday Night Lights matchup, the Wise Pumas hosted the Glen Burnie Gophers. Glen Burnie got ball first, but the Pumas defense kept the Gophers scoreless on the opening drive. Wise's O then marched right down the field to get their first touchdown of the night, thanks to fullback Theodore Riley running it up the gut for 6. The Pumas were then able to convert on a 2-point conversion to go up 8-0 on Glen Burnie. Glen Burnie was kept scoreless the rest of the quarter and went into the second down 8-0 on the Pumas. Now Wise started the second quarter off strong as running back Cameron Parker had this rushing touchdown. Then after Glen Burnie center hiked the ball too high and their QB got the ball back, he gave it right to the defense, throwing this pick to Andre Thrasher, who then went all the way to the end zone for the pick 6. And after the 2-point conversion, the Pumas had a commanding 23-0 lead over the Gophers. Fast forward to later on in the quarter, the Gophers running back rushed to his right. He then broke off 2 Pumas defenders. And after a third one failed to bring him down, he was off to the races and saw nothing but grass on his way to scoring the team's first touchdown of the night. And now the team was down 23-6 on Wise. But with a little under a minute left in the quarter, the Pumas extended their lead after Parker had another rushing touchdown, as no one could stop him on his way to the end zone. And now Wise had a 29-6 lead over the Gophers. Then after Parker scored, the two teams lined up for the kickoff, with number 2 for Glen Burnie set to return. And after bobbling the catch, it seemed like the play was going nowhere. But after juking out a couple of Pumas and breaking a tackle, he gained some good yards. And soon after, he turned on the jets and ran as fast as he could, and no one could stop him as he crossed the 30, the 20, the 10, the 5, and then before you know it, he took it to the crib for Glen Burnie's second touchdown of the night. And the Gophers made things interesting, only being down 29-14 going into halftime after this 2-point conversion. But Glen Burnie was unable to complete their comeback, and Wise was able to win the game 46-20 and advance to the state semifinals, where they will match up against Churchill. Congratulations, fellas. Meanwhile, on Saturday, the Terps took the field for their senior day matchup against the Michigan Wolverines. Now the Terps were able to strike first in the matchup after Malik Washington found Dorian Fleming open for a 1-yard touchdown. Terps up 7-0 after the made extra point. Soon after, Michigan's offense took the field for their opening drive and came away with points as well after freshman QB Bryce Underwood completed his touchdown pass to Andrew Marsh to help tie the game at 7-all going into the second quarter. The Terps defense had a tough time containing the Wolverines offense in the second quarter as the team scored 2 touchdowns, one of which came as a result of a pick by Michigan's defense. And Maryland went into the half down 21-10 on the Wolverines. Moving on to the third quarter, the Terps defense continued to struggle, giving up another touchdown on the Michigan offense's opening drive to make the score 28-10 in favor of the Wolverines. The Terps offense took the field soon after and was only able to come away with 3 points after this made field goal from Sean O'Hare from 29 yards out to make the score 28-13. Michigan's offense went back out on the field once again and scored again after Bryce Cusgedall ran it in after initially being ruled down before he broke the plane. And now the Wolverines had a 35-13 lead over Maryland going into the fourth quarter. And the Terps couldn't complete their comeback, losing to Michigan in the end 45-20. Here's senior Jalen Husky after the game on what it felt like playing his last home game as a Terp.
I was really excited. You know, we had a great opportunity in front of us today, and I was just hopeful that I was able to put my best foot forward. Obviously didn't get the result that we wanted, but, you know, we have one more game, and I plan on finishing that one the right way.
Dang, y'all. Maryland's last game of the season will be against Michigan State on Saturday. And that wraps up your Monday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. Now let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight will be mostly cloudy out, and tomorrow it'll be 57 degrees, but we have an 87% chance of rain. Wednesday, more rain is on the way, and we'll have a high of 68 and a low of 37. And for Thanksgiving Thursday, it's going to be nice and sunny with a high of 46.
And listen to this, our community calendar this Saturday. Don't be sitting up in your room. The Prince of Pop Culture podcast and Snub Magazine present The Brunch Is Mine, a Brandy and Monica tour-inspired day party. So if you want to get so gone to some bottomless brunch bites, enjoy karaoke with raffles and contests, this spot is for you. The event takes place from noon to 5 p.m. at Bistro 64 in District Heights, but for more information, visit jojocruise.com.
And that's a wrap for CTV News for now. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.